I just called the Postal Service to complain about that postman. Guess what? I got their voicemail.
Alright fellas, bust out your sad Drake playlists and your cuddle blankets. The weather is cool and the consumerism is cooler. It's the holidays. I love the holiday season growing up. I love the snow, the colors of the Christmas decorations, the sweets. But as an antisocial, pudgy kid living in a tiny Oregonian town that routinely got several feet of snow every year who didn't like getting its clothes wet, I didn't exactly have a whole lot of incentive to really leave the house during the winter season. I'd much rather spend my holiday break staying inside, wrap myself up in a warm blanket, and stealing my brother's room with cable TV with a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Luckily, Cartoon Network always had me set with reruns to Christmas specials of shows that ended years ago, or, well, here we're going back to the early 2000s, where to get a holiday special, all you really needed was a pun in the title and you were set. And probably a children's book or something. We had The Night Before Christmas, Scary Godmother, and others. Now seeing as it's Star Wars month, I mean the holiday season, I wanted to look at a holiday special that always just kind of existed. Olive, the Other Reindeer was initially a children's book written by Vivian Walsh and published in 1997, before being turned into a computer animated special for Fox in 1999. Although, I'm sure most people will remember catching it on the absolute myriad of reruns that got through Cartoon Network starting in 2002. Although, as far as I can tell, it looks like it isn't going to air again this year. Now, when I say the special existed, I mean, it was just kind of there. I've never really heard of a huge fan of it. I've never heard anyone saying it's awful either. It was never really treated like a classic, like a Charlie Brown Christmas, or something completely awful like Rhapsody Street Kids. I seemed to always catch an airing of it whenever it came on, though. It would always seem like a fun 45-minute affair that they threw in every so often between reruns of Kids Next Door. Now, trust me when I say that that isn't without effort. There are definitely some recognizable names in the credits for this thing. We have DNA Productions, who's most famous for the creepy monkey at the end of Jimmy Neutron that always freaked everybody out.
Hi, I'm Paul.
And our main character is even voiced by Drew Barrymore of all people. And Drew Barrymore wasn't a small name at this point. She'd already appeared in movies like Scream and The Wedding Singer. And the production company that handled all of this is the Curiosity Company, who basically after this produced nothing but Futurama. But hey, that's Matt Groening's company. I have to wonder if he really had any involvement. Oh my god, it's literally the first frame. Matt must have felt really confident in this if he could just put his name up front like that. Even as a kid, whenever I saw that, I was just always wondering like, what? Him of all people? But hey, who cares? It's 1999. Let's see what the latest in TV computer animation had in store for us.
Let's go.
Oh, 1999, back when computer animation was still pretty revolutionary, was a big selling point for shows and movies. And for something that's nearly 20 years old, I think this actually doesn't look that bad. In fact, I would go to say it actually looks pretty good. Though one minor gripe I have about this is that we have a rendering technique here that I don't see all too often. I've really only seen some of these earlier made-for-TV animations during the mid to late 90s, where it's rendered slightly above the standard frames per second count used in most media. When you really think about it, there really is no reason to limit computer animation to a specific frame rate, but it is a little jarring seeing something with a much smoother frame rate than most things. If anything, that's probably why this may look a little dated. It looks a little flash tweeny. It actually ends up reminding me of some of the early Cartoon Network Groovy shorts that they played in between shows, namely the Adam Ant one in particular. Does anyone remember these? They were just cute little unique animation pieces with new art styles paired with some good music choices. That Adam Ant one actually draws some comparisons to this one in terms of art style. It had flat characters on a 3D plane. Hell, some of the character designs even look similar. Speaking of which, I think the art style is alright. It has a very certain character design model that appears to be a straight translation from J. Otto Sebold's illustrations in the original book. And with how it's animated with the flat characters on 3D backgrounds, it kind of reminds me of Parappa the Rappa, which always had one of my favorite art styles of any video game. I wish more CGI cartoons would have unique aesthetical choices versus just trying to push harder and harder for realism when you definitely don't have the budget for it. It works out well for the special, meaning it aged very, very well. Alright, let's get past the visuals. We're introduced to our main character, Olive, a talking dog. Well, I mean, in a universe where all animals can talk, is it really that special? Anywho, we meet them in song, exclaiming to everyone how every other holiday can fuck right out of here because Christmas is the top dog here.
Every day special, I'm not complaining, but I'm always counting the days still remaining till Christmas. Oh, wow.
And after nearly being fucking annihilated by a mail truck, we're introduced to Olive's partner for most of the film, Martini the Penguin, voiced by Joey Pants, who is been in nearly every mobster movie ever made, who's just trying to flip some rollies before the man busts him down. After becoming complicit in Martini's crimes, Olive bails out to check up on her master, Tim. But in a world where animals have jobs, can walk and talk freely, and are essentially fully independent, they still have masters? Here we find out that Olive isn't quite like the other dogs. She doesn't bark incessantly, she doesn't chase cars or tear up flower beds, but he doesn't like this. Explain to me how this is a bad thing again? Does this mean that there are other, more normally acting dogs in this universe? Because where are they? Every other animal we see is seemingly independent, but most with careers of themselves. Tim doesn't deserve you, Olive. He's too busy being a salty bitch because, as it turns out, Santa's considering canceling his yearly flight due to one of his reindeer getting injured. And the fool doesn't have any backup or call-in staff. I mean, I guess that is an incredibly seasonal job, but come on. We're also introduced to Olive's pet talking. I'm really confused about the laws of ownership in this world. I'm sorry I may get off of this, but even the insects talk. Fido mishears Santa over the radio and convinces Olive that he said Olive the other reindeer, meaning that she, a dog in what I'm assuming is Northern America, maybe Canada, is actually a reindeer. And after Tim tries to reconcile after being an ass to Olive, we get this.
To apologize.
What did he say?
I think he said, I'm ashamed of all your lies.
You didn't do anything wrong. Santa's not flying, and I took it out on you.
You always do everything wrong. Santa's not flying, and I shook a trout fondue.
We can still have Christmas. Come on in the house. I'm lighting the Yule log, and there's a space for you.
You can't kill my Christmas. Get out of this house. I'm getting a new dog, and I'm replacing you.
Olive? Are you there?
I mean, alright. See, now I'm just thinking Fido is either a giant asshole or has crippling tinnitus. This whole story is because Fido misheard a simple phrase and completely butchered what Tim was saying. Forget saving Christmas, we need to save Fido's hearing ability. I propose we get Olive 2. Fido sees a orthonaryngology. After a weird section of seemingly hand-drawn animation, we are now introduced to our antagonist of the hour, the Postman, voiced by Homer himself, Dan Castellaneta. Turns out this postman hates the holidays due to the extra workload, although he had plenty of time to put together this musical number.
By autumn I'm getting queasy. The shoulder strap tears at my flesh. I'm a zombie by Thanksgiving. With 4 weeks torture still to come, this is no way to make a living. Christmas, bah, bug and hum.
I mean, isn't it already Christmas Eve? Outside returns, you're in a clear for this year. As far as I can tell, Santa's pulling a lot more weight than you, dude. And this is in 1999. Just wait till Amazon starts really pulling it in. Still determined Olive leaves for the bus station, which conveniently has a route towards the North Pole with only one exchange. Plus, Martini is also along for the ride, before the postman decides to either commit acts of assault and kidnapping, or absolutely nothing due to the incredibly inconsistent laws in this universe. Martini initially leaves Olive for dead before actually doing something for the dog who has saved his ass 2 times now. And now we find ourselves on the bus up to the North Pole. Now, this is where I'm going to define the specials comedy as a groaner, where the jokes are on a functional level, but you don't want to give them the satisfaction of a proper chuckle, leading to you to give a begrudging groan at these semi-lame jokes. Case in point, the name of our bus driver for today.
Santa said all of the other reindeer. I'm afraid you just misunderstood. It happens all the time. I used to think the Pledge of Allegiance was about me, Richard Stans.
It's not?
Trust me, that's far from the only pawn in the rest of this movie. After the postman commits vehicular violence and near homicide, our heroes stop for a bite to eat, waiting for their transfer when, good golly, we got traps! Sound the alarm! We got traps! Postman racks up another kidnapping charge before Olive is saved by, Deus Ex Machina. See what I mean about this being a groaner comedy? This, unfortunately, leaves Olive missing the bus transfer, forcing her to head into the seediest of all bars, the gay bar, evident by the bear and his BDSM reindeer twink. Olive announces her intentions, and only gets heckled for it. After getting literally thrown by them and landing onto Growing's only speaking role for this production,
On again.
Ow!
Sorry, Arturo.
they threatened to literally throw this fucking dog off the roof like Jesus Christ! But here we really get to see a glimpse of what Olive's true purpose is, being the bard of the group, giving the rest of the party inspiration and strive to keep going. This, of course, would lead to another song.
Employment in these latitudes depends on old Saint Nick. So forgive us if we all have attitudes. We're up a frozen creek. We're not so bad. We're really sweet and funny. We're not so bad, except for that bunny. We're not so bad, we're not so bad, we're not so bad.
You know, hey, this singing voice on this reindeer isn't so bad. I mean, hell, none of these songs are really bad. They're actually all pretty nice. So I had to wonder who was playing him, and it's Michael Stripe. At first I didn't recognize that name. I looked up his Wikipedia page, and oh my god, he's the fucking frontman for REM. I mean, I really should have seen this coming, considering he's in the spotlight losing his religion. You know, it's really starting to remind me of Rap City Street Kids. Is this a Scientology front? Nancy Cartwright worked on that, and she was a Simpsons cast member, and here we have Groening and Homer too. But hey, whatever, this whole song sequence is probably my favorite in the whole special. It's fun and fast paced, there's interesting visuals, and having Michael fucking Stripe definitely doesn't hurt you. After Olive convinces them that she can help, the gay bear, John Round Burchin, agrees to transport Olive Martini in the last stretch of their journey to the North Pole. Once there, we reach the greatest threat of all, front gate attendants. After being refused entry, Martini hatches up a plan to get Olive inside by distracting the guard, but the postman hasn't given up quite yet. We finally get to see the big man himself, old Saint Nick, who was planning on canceling the flight, especially after kids decided to stick their YouTube comments to writing for him. Olive shows herself and declares her to be the true messiah that this Christmas needs. Santa, despite knowing full well that she's a dog, decides to give it a shot and declares Christmas back on.
I've just learned that you'd better not pout, you'd better not cry, you'd better not shout. I'm telling you why. A mysterious other reindeer has arrived to take Blitzen's place. As of now, the flight is...
Also, wait, is Santa Jewish? Olive gets strapped in, and for the moment of truth, we see that Olive can fly? Kind of. I'm not really sure the physics here. She's obviously attaining some sort of lift. The rope isn't completely taut at the bottom. She's actually pulling it, but whatever. It seems to be enough, and Christmas is saved. Well, seeing as we still have about 12 minutes of film, we need to find another conflict. Upon stopping at their first house, Santa finds that his bag's been snatched, and is actually back with the postman, who has also snatched Martini for another count of kidnapping on his criminal record. Well, Christmas is canceled again. Time to wrap it up.
All junk mail. What?
Santa! Let me smell that mail. The postman.
Fucking how, Olive? Where even are y'all? How can you sniff this out? Is the world here a marble? Is this like when you play San Andreas and you modest or the draws since it's completely gone? You got to the North Pole in a day in a bus and can easily sniff out a damn mail truck? Whatever. After a daring mid-air rescue, the presents are recovered and we get the last song sequence of the film, with all of the crew delivering all of the presents.
I'm a true blue member of the crew.
Good to call it to remind us you can't give up on Christmas Eve. Now the trouble's all behind us, 'cause all have taught us how to believe. So Merry Christmas after all.
The UK, Rome, Australia, fucking space. Even Japan, which has giant monsters and robots, why couldn't they help with Christmas like Jesus Christ? The final present gets delivered, but did they do this in alphabetical order? That's terrible planning. They head on back to the North Pole, and of course all of their continent-spanning scent abilities can guide them through the fog and back to the North Pole, which is literally just straight north. How is this necessary? Olive is heralded as a hero by the Christmas crew and is deemed an official member by appropriating the headdress of an old culture. Martini even wraps up at the zoo, which features the ugliest fucking panda ever. Oh god, what is wrong? He turns down his old position and decides that street justice is needed for the postman's crimes. Olive reconnects to Tim, who now accepts her after proving her worth as both a reindeer and a dog. We get one more montage seeing where they are all now, of all the characters we've come to love and know really well. Olive and Fido both get opposable thumbs, but not hearing aids, I guess. Martini goes legit and works for the man now, the postman adapts to his new life of servitude, the gay dom pops the balls of the sub, and Santa gets to chill the fuck out for another 364 days of the year. And that's the special. What do I think of it as a whole? I think it's cute. I wouldn't say it's some comedic masterpiece or anything so bad it needs to be seen. I'd say it's just about how I saw it as a kid. It's a fun, 45-minute affair that could slot just fine into any Christmas special lineup you have. It looks good enough, the voice acting is actually really good, the songs are pretty fun, and it's a story that all of us INFP mediators can all relate to, that sometimes we all just need to get along and get some motivation going. It doesn't go out of its way to date itself with slang of the time, there's no sick rad 90s rap number, it's just a fun special that I really wouldn't hesitate putting on for my family nowadays. But hey, what do I know? I made a Christmas video 3 days late. It seems like nobody cares about the copyright for this thing, so it's up for watching on YouTube. Go give it a shot, or maybe suggest it next Christmas. This is K-Who's, and I hope you'll stick around for the next one.